Imagine waking up, your heart still pounding, your breath uneven. You swear you just had the wildest dream, something about aliens, a talking donut, and an angry librarian chasing you with a broom. But now, it's gone. Puff! Like it was never there. You try to grasp at the fading threads of your dream, but they slip through your fingers faster than sand in a desert. What's going on? Why is your brain such a jerk? Well, believe it or not, this dream amnesia is not some freak accident. It's science, baby. Your brain is actually designed to forget dreams. Yep, that's right. Forgetting is a key part of the process, and it's mostly intentional. You might assume that every dream is important, but, spoiler alert, they're not. The human brain is an efficiency machine, and it's got better things to do than remember every random dream about running from a giant pizza. Most dreams are your brain's way of processing emotions, stress, and random information that has no place in the waking world. If your brain let you remember every single one, it'd be like trying to store the contents of the entire internet in your head. Not pretty. Plus, your brain is busy consolidating memories while you're asleep. It's like organizing a closet, tossing out the junk, keeping the important stuff, and making sure that the mental shelves aren't overflowing with nonsense. So yeah, your dreams are often the junk mail of your subconscious, and your brain has decided it doesn't need a full subscription. Basically, your brain is playing the out of sight, out of mind game. But don't feel bad. You're not missing much. Just some weird, abstract nonsense that would probably just freak you out if you remembered it all. The scary part, your brain's efficiency can sometimes even erase the most bizarre, jaw-dropping dreams that you actually want to remember. All those really weird ones, gone forever. Nice. Let's be real. Nightmares are the worst. You're just chilling in bed, minding your own business, and then bam, you're stuck in a nightmare where you're being chased by your childhood pet who's now somehow a giant, flaming, evil version of itself. Your heart's racing. You're trying to scream, but all that comes out is a squeaky, strangled sound like a dying hamster. But what's the deal with nightmares? Why do they feel so real, so intense? Well, it's all thanks to the good old brain playing tricks on you. Here's the thing. Nightmares are your brain's way of dealing with stress, fear, or unresolved emotions. Think of them as your brain's emergency broadcast system. Like it's sending you a warning signal that something's off in your life. Maybe it's that annoying coworker who won't stop stealing your lunch. Or maybe it's that existential dread you've been pushing down since you were 12. But don't let your brain fool you. It's not like your subconscious is out to get you. It's just handling things in the most dramatic way possible. Your brain loves a good plot twist. And nightmares are often filled with wildly exaggerated scenarios to match the emotional intensity you're feeling. So, if you're stressed about work or feeling a little lonely, your mind takes it and runs with it straight into the realm of horror movie plotlines. It's almost like your brain is holding auditions for a scary movie, and you, my friend, are the star. You think you're just lying there in your bed, but your brain's got you running for your life from an army of mutant cats. Why? Because it's how your brain processes anxiety and fear. How charming. But here's the real kicker. Nightmares aren't necessarily bad for you. Your brain is trying to work through that stress or fear, even if it does it in a way that makes you want to double check that the closet door is closed at 3 a.m. Basically, your brain is your worst director, throwing in horror movie tropes just to get your attention. So the next time you wake up drenched in sweat, remember, you're the hero of your own emotional thriller. Just try not to scream too loud. Okay, let's talk about sleep paralysis. It's that absolutely terrifying moment when you wake up, but your body refuses to acknowledge that fact. You're wide awake, you can feel the weight of your blankets, the cool air on your skin, but you can't move. And then, just for extra fun, you get the feeling that someone or something is in the room with you. And no, it's not just your brain playing tricks. This phenomenon, which has inspired countless horror movies, folklore, and the idea that your house might be haunted, is actually rooted in your brain's odd relationship with sleep cycles. Sleep paralysis happens during the transition between sleep stages, when you're stuck somewhere between dreaming and waking up. Your body, in its infinite wisdom, decides to paralyze you during REM sleep. That's when the real vivid dreaming happens to prevent you from acting out your dreams. You know, so you don't accidentally punch your partner in the face or try to jump out the window because you're chasing an escaped sandwich. The problem is, sometimes your brain wakes up too quickly, but your body is still stuck in that paralyzed state. This results in you being fully aware but unable to move. Cue the horror show. Add in a few hallucinations like seeing shadowy figures, hearing whispering voices, or feeling a presence looming over you, and you've got yourself an absolute nightmare. But let's get something straight here. The only thing paralyzing you is the brain's sleep mechanics. You aren't actually possessed or haunted by a demon. It just feels that way, basically. Your brain's like, hey, I'm going to mess with you for a bit and throw in some spooky hallucinations while you try to wiggle a toe. It's kind of like your body forgetting how to play a video game and glitching out halfway through. Instead of being able to move or scream for help, you're just frozen in place with your imagination going into overdrive. The scariest part, it can happen multiple times, often just when you're least expecting it. So, try not to freak out next time you're caught in the paralysis loop. It's just your body being a little too enthusiastic about sleep and your brain being a bit of a jerk. Here's a weird one. Déjà vu? You know that odd moment when you're doing something totally normal, like eating cereal or sitting in traffic, and all of a sudden, you have this intense, unshakable feeling that you've already experienced this exact moment before. It's like the universe is playing a trick on you. You're convinced you've lived through this exact scenario, down to the tiniest detail, but no, you haven't. So, what the heck is going on here? Is it some kind of glitch in the Matrix? Well, not exactly. You can blame your brain's memory system for that uncanny sensation. Researchers think déjà vu is a result of a little hiccup in how our brain processes memories. Essentially, when you're in a situation that feels familiar, your brain automatically links it to an earlier memory that might have some similarities, but not a direct match. Your brain then tries to convince you that it's a repeat performance, even though it's just a clever misfire. This confusion between new and old experiences might happen when your brain processes sensory input like the sights, sounds, and feelings of the moment and short circuits. It's almost as if your brain's software takes a screenshot, realizes it made a mistake, and then gives you a false memory flashback. The result? You get this disorienting feeling of, oh yeah, I definitely remember this. The irony, you'll probably never figure out where the memory came from, because it's not actually from a real past experience. Instead, it's a bizarre, temporary glitch in the complex system that makes us feel like we've traveled in time or like we're starring in our very own science fiction story. But hey, it makes for a cool conversation starter at parties, even if it is just your brain screwing with you. So, the next time you feel like you're living in some déjà vu movie, just remind yourself, it's not you, it's your brain playing memory roulette. Let's dive into the magical world of lucid dreaming, or, as it's often called, the art of being awake inside your dream. You've probably heard of it. You're asleep, but in the middle of the dream, it suddenly hits you. Wait a minute, I'm dreaming. I can control this. And just like that, you're basically the director of your own bizarre dream movie. Want to fly? Done. Want to have a conversation with a talking cat? No problem. The sky's the limit. Or is it? While lucid dreaming sounds like an absolute dream come true, pun intended, the reality of it is a bit more confusing. First of all, how can you even tell if you're dreaming in the first place? Your brain is tricking you into thinking you're awake, and the dream feels too real. It's not like you're in a fluffy cloud world of sunshine and rainbows. Most lucid dreams feel like your regular, everyday life, with a few added quirks, like talking vegetables or, your high school math teacher turning into a giant taco. Lucid dreaming isn't some superpower that everyone has access to on command. You can't just snap your fingers and expect to have full control. For many, it takes some serious training and practice. It's like trying to start a new hobby. You have to learn how to recognize the signals that you're in a dream and then control it. And if you manage to do it, the satisfaction is incredible. It's like hacking your own brain to give you VIP access to a private, mental amusement park. But don't get too comfortable with your newfound dream superpowers. Here's the catch. Lucid dreams aren't always as pleasant as they seem. Sometimes, things can go south really fast. Once you realize you're in a dream, you might start controlling things in ways that are just wrong. Your brain might get confused and go a little haywire, resulting in a nightmare that you can't escape from. Imagine trying to fly, but instead of soaring through the sky, you're falling into an endless pit of awkwardness and spaghetti. Lucid dreaming is a double-edged sword. It's both empowering and terrifying. So, if you're lucky enough to experience it, enjoy the ride. But remember, just because you're in control of your dream, doesn't mean your brain won't throw you for a loop. Sleepwalking when your body decides it's time for a midnight adventure, but your brain stays behind, chilling in a deep slumber. You wake up the next morning, maybe with a strange sense of déjà vu, but no real memory of what happened. You could have made a snack, rearranged all the furniture, or even gone for a leisurely stroll in your pajamas and possibly the neighbor's yard without ever fully waking up. How lovely. So, why do we sleepwalk? Turns out, it's all about your brain's inability to fully disconnect during sleep. While you're in a deep, non-REM state, your body thinks, why not get up and walk around for a bit? But the issue is, your brain isn't actually awake. It's still in that groggy, dreamlike state where things are kind of half-baked. The result? You're physically active walking, eating, or even talking while your mind is still zonked out, clueless about what's going on. This happens when there's a disconnect between the parts of your brain that control movement and the parts responsible for awareness and consciousness. It's like your body has a set of instructions to follow, but your brain forgot to hit the on switch for awareness. So, you end up wandering around, performing actions that you have absolutely no memory of. If you've ever woken up to find your shoes on the kitchen table or a random stuffed animal on the couch, there's a good chance you've had a sleepwalking session without even realizing it. And no, it's not always as harmless as wandering to the kitchen for a midnight snack. In extreme cases, people have been known to engage in much more dangerous activities, like driving a car or, just deciding to casually wander out of the house and into the street. But here's the real kicker. Sleepwalking is often tied to stress, sleep deprivation, or other underlying factors, so your brain might decide to take a walk to de-stress, just not in the way you might hope. Your brain is basically saying, I've got so much on my plate right now. I'm gonna go do this thing while I'm asleep, and probably mess it up. At least you can laugh it off assuming you didn't end up outside in the rain, staring blankly at your neighbor's garden gnomes at 3 a.m. But if you're one of the unlucky ones who frequently sleepwalks, maybe it's time to have a serious talk with your brain about bedtime behavior. False memories. You know those moments when you're absolutely convinced that something happened and then someone tells you it didn't. Like that time you swore you left your phone in the kitchen, only to find it right where it's supposed to be in your pocket. Or when you remember a childhood event so vividly, with every little detail, only to discover that it never even happened. Who's the villain in this twisted story? Your own brain. False memories are basically your brain's version of a bad party guest. It shows up uninvited, starts making up stories, and makes you question everything you thought you knew. But here's the kicker. Your brain is so good at manufacturing false memories, you'll swear that the fake version is the real one. In fact, the more you try to recall something, the more likely your brain will fill in the gaps with made-up details that sound just as real as the truth. So, those childhood memories of that one summer camp you never went to. Your brain probably just inserted them like it was editing a bad novel. Nice. But the reason behind this is surprisingly simple. Your brain is constantly trying to create narratives. It likes neat little stories where everything fits together. If there's a gap, it doesn't just leave it empty. Nope. It fills it in with the best guess, based on prior knowledge or assumptions. So, if you remember a holiday in vivid detail but never actually went on one, your brain just created a memory from bits and pieces of what it thinks is likely, even though it never happened. False memories can be so convincing that, in some cases, they've led people to falsely confess to crimes they didn't commit. Your brain doesn't always know the difference between real events and fabricated ones, and it's happy to roll with whatever fits the narrative. This is why eyewitness testimony can be so unreliable. It's like your mind's version of an unreliable narrator, and it's definitely not to be trusted, especially when it's doing a terrible job at being objective. So next time you catch yourself arguing with someone over whether or not that embarrassing thing happened at the party, maybe take a moment to reconsider. Because if your brain can make you believe an event that never actually took place, it's probably lying to you about other things too. No one's safe. Let's talk about sleep talking. If you've ever been woken up by someone who's having a full-blown conversation with the air, then congratulations, you've experienced one of the weirdest quirks of the human brain. Sleep talking, also known as somniloquy, is that delightful phenomenon where people speak, shout, or even yell out full sentences while they're deep in slumber, without any awareness of it. And here's the real kicker. Sometimes, those sleep-talking moments are ridiculously hilarious, like when someone mumbles, "I don't trust the toaster" in the middle of the night. Great. Now you have a household appliance conspiracy to deal with. But what's going on behind the scenes? Why does your brain decide that speaking while asleep is a necessary component of your dream adventure? Well, the truth is, sleep talking happens when your brain is in between sleep stages, specifically during transitions between REM sleep and non-REM sleep. These stages are when your brain is either deep in rest or going through its emotional house cleaning of the day's events. Sleep talking can occur when your brain doesn't fully switch off while your body is still resting. The result? You start saying whatever comes to mind, and for some reason, your brain thinks it's a good idea to express those thoughts out loud. But there's no rhyme or reason to what you say. Some people talk in full sentences, while others just mutter a few incoherent words. The content varies wildly from casual observations, "Did I leave the oven on?" to the strange and surreal, "I'm the king of the spaghetti kingdom." It's like your brain is playing a game of dream charades, but no one's awake enough to guess the clues. And the best part, you'll never remember it. So, the next morning, you'll be blissfully unaware of the chaotic speeches you've given in your sleep. Sure, your partner might be glaring at you over the breakfast table, but you have no idea why. The mystery is yours to live with, and it's the ultimate form of sleep-induced comedy. So, if you ever hear yourself uttering nonsensical phrases in the middle of the night, don't worry, you're not possessed. Your brain's just having a weird, chaotic party in your head while your body does the actual resting. And hey, at least you'll have a fun story to tell, even if you won't remember any of it. Okay, let's talk about those times when you wake up from a dream, only to fall asleep again and immediately jump back into the same exact dream. Like your brain hit pause and decided to let you finish the rest of the plotline. This isn't some mystical thing, it's actually a weird phenomenon called dream clustering. Imagine it, you're dreaming you're running away from a bear in a forest, classic. Then bam, you wake up in a cold sweat, your heart pounding. You're lying there thinking, okay, I'm awake now. Right, but no, your brain has other plans. As soon as you drift off again, boom, you're back in that forest, still sprinting for your life. It's like a bad sequel, but with more adrenaline and fewer happy endings. This phenomenon happens when your brain is still processing the same emotional themes or stresses that triggered the dream in the first place. Your brain is trying to solve the emotional puzzle it's working through. And if you're in a particularly emotional or stressful state, it might loop you back into that same situation to finish processing. It's like your subconscious has decided that you didn't get enough bear chasing time the first time around. So it's going to give you another shot at it. And here's the kicker. The longer the dream cluster lasts, the more real it feels. These types of dreams are typically the ones that linger with you all day. You wake up, and you're like, did I just live an entire adventure in my head? Or was that a mini-series? Your brain is just doing what it does best, constantly trying to make sense of emotions or situations. It's like it's putting your stress into a loop to sort it out, but in the most dramatic way possible. The real question is, when you wake up from a dream cluster, do you feel like you've actually learned anything? Or is your brain just torturing you with endless reruns of an action movie that was never good in the first place? So, if you find yourself stuck in a dream series that won't quit, don't worry, you're not going crazy. Your brain is just obsessed with the idea of making you face that bear one more time. Maybe next time you'll outrun it, or at least get a better plotline. Let's talk about the weird concept of time distortion in dreams. Have you ever had a dream where it felt like you lived an entire lifetime? You're in this deep, vivid dream, and you swear hours have passed, but when you wake up, only a few minutes have gone by. Your brain has somehow managed to stretch time, making you feel like you've gone on a decades-long journey, when in reality, it's been a blink of an eye. This time travel trickery happens because your brain doesn't process time the same way when you're asleep. When you're dreaming, your brain is operating in a completely different mode, one that doesn't care about clocks, minutes, or deadlines. Instead, it's free to let your imagination run wild, bending and distorting the perception of time like it's playing with a rubber band. So, while you're running from giant bees or navigating an underwater office building, your brain just speeds up or slows down the passage of time. The way this works is tied to the stages of sleep, particularly REM sleep, where vivid dreaming happens. Your brain is firing off in all directions, and the usual rules of time and space completely ignored. For your brain, a single dream can feel like a series of events spread over years, when really it's just an intense burst of activity that only lasts 15 minutes. That's why you can wake up from a dream and feel like you've lived an entire saga, even though you've only been asleep for a fraction of a second in the real world. It's like your brain just hit the fast forward button. And here's the wild part. This is exactly why it's so hard to pin down the time you spend dreaming. The longer you're asleep, the more likely your brain is to jam an entire lifetime of events into a few minutes. So, if you wake up and feel like you've just lived through an entire season of a show, don't worry. Your brain's been busy playing Time Lord while you snoozed. So, the next time you wake up thinking you just lived an entire lifetime in a dream, just remember your brain's not really traveling through time. It's just messing with your perception because it's bored and wants to make the most out of your REM cycle. And honestly, it's probably a good thing it can't figure out how to make time travel real. You might never make it to work on time again. Let's dive into a little known weird fact about dreams. The color. Some people claim to never dream in color. They swear their dreams are just different shades of black, white, and grey, like they're stuck in an old-timey silent film. Meanwhile, others have vivid, technicolor dreams that look like the movie Avatar on an acid trip. So what gives? The truth is, there's actually a weird split in the dream world. Some people genuinely dream in black and white, while others see full-on color. And scientists are still scratching their heads about why this happens. One theory suggests that it might be tied to the type of media you grew up with. If you were raised in a time when color TV wasn't a thing, it's possible your brain still carries the imprint of that black and white world into your dreams. Or if you grew up with vibrant cartoons and HD movies, your brain is more likely to replay those in full color. But here's the real kicker. You might think you're dreaming in black and white when it's actually just your brain playing tricks on you. A study by the National Sleep Foundation revealed that people who swear they dream in grayscale might not actually be seeing only black and white. Instead, their brains are failing to accurately interpret or recall color when they wake up. Essentially, the brain is like, hey, I don't have time to remember every little detail, so I'm just gonna toss out the color data and leave you with some shades of gray. You're welcome, but there's another possibility. The mood of your dreams. When you're feeling stressed or anxious, your brain might favor darker tones, a little subconscious symbolic representation of how you're feeling. It's as though your brain is slapping a filter over your dreams to match your emotional state. Meanwhile, happy or more peaceful dreams might bring in the vibrant hues, as if to say, look at me, I'm living my best dream life. Whether you see a colorful circus of possibilities or just a dreary black and white parade of nonsense, one thing's clear. Your brain has its own quirky way of blending emotion and memory into your dream world. So, if your dreams are looking a little dull and lifeless, it's not because your imagination isn't working, it's just that your brain is trying to tell you something. Probably that you need to stop watching so many documentaries and watch a few cartoons instead. Have you ever had a dream that seemed like a practice run for something in real life? Like you're giving a big speech, and it goes perfectly, or you're running from a monster, and you somehow dodge it at the last second. The thing is, your brain is actively rehearsing these scenarios, even when you're sound asleep. It's like your subconscious is the ultimate director, constantly setting up scenes where you're the star, only you didn't sign up for this gig. This is known as dream rehearsal, and it's part of your brain's weird way of preparing you for real-world situations. You see, your brain is wired to optimize your emotional and cognitive responses to challenges. So, if you're facing something stressful like an upcoming test, a job interview, or a potential encounter with a lion, because why not? Your brain can reenact similar scenarios in your dreams. It's like a mental dress rehearsal. By the time the actual event happens, your brain feels prepared and ready to take on the challenge. Talk about overachieving, right? But here's the twist. This doesn't always work in your favor. While dream rehearsal can help you practice navigating stressful situations, it can also backfire if you're too focused on negative outcomes. If you're constantly dreaming about failing that big test or botching your presentation, your brain might start amplifying your worries, making you even more anxious when the real deal rolls around. It's like you're giving your mind a preview of a disaster movie, and when you wake up, you feel like you're starring in it. And there's another little weird quirk to dream rehearsal. You're not always conscious of it. A lot of times, when you wake up from a dream, you might not even realize it was your brain's way of practicing or rehearsing for something. You might just shrug it off as a weird dream without understanding that your brain was quietly trying to prepare you for real-life scenarios. So, next time you have a dream about giving the perfect speech or escaping from a weird, mutant monster, just know that your brain was setting you up for a successful real-life performance, even if that performance is just you navigating the grocery store without freaking out. So, we've talked about lucid dreaming before, but there's another layer to it, and it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Sure, it sounds amazing to be able to control your dreams. You could fly, summon any character from your favorite TV show, Or finally give that obnoxious guy from high school a piece of your mind, the one who always stole your lunch. But guess what? The more you try to control your dreams, the more your brain can throw you into a nightmare you can't escape from. When people start to intentionally control their dreams, they often set themselves up for a lucid dreaming trap. The more you try to manipulate the dream world, the more you run the risk of your mind getting too engaged, and suddenly, you're stuck in an endless loop of dream manipulation. Think of it like trying to hack your own brain, and the system just crashes because it's overloaded. Instead of being able to change your surroundings or outcomes at will, you start to spiral into an uncontrollable nightmare of your own creation. Here's the problem. Your brain isn't exactly designed to be a puppet master in your sleep. While it can certainly play along with the idea of lucid dreaming for a while, it's very easy for your mind to get caught in a state of confusion. You might try to control the dream, but then the more you try, the more it spins out of control. Your desires or anxieties, your subconscious stresses start taking over. Instead of flying or having fun, you're battling weird, giant versions of your stresses. You wanted to have a fun chat with your favorite fictional character. Instead, you end up locked in a conversation with your old boss about why you haven't submitted the report yet. Like, who wants that? This happens because lucid dreaming relies on a delicate balance between awareness and the dream state. If you push too hard, you'll either wake up prematurely or get stuck in a bad loop. Essentially, you're too aware and it messes with the natural flow of dreaming. So, while lucid dreaming might sound like the ultimate superpower, it's easy to get lost in the maze of trying to control everything. It's like being handed the keys to a car and then realizing you have no idea how to drive it. So, the next time you try to harness your lucid dreaming skills, don't get too cocky. Your brain may just end up turning your dream into a horror movie you can't escape. And guess what? No amount of control can change that. Here's a strange phenomenon that no one really talks about. Dream language. No, not the weird alien language you're speaking in your dreams, although that would be a fun side effect. I'm talking about the specific way your brain creates a kind of dream vocabulary that you only understand when you're asleep. Like an exclusive club where you get to make up the rules as you go. You might not remember it when you wake up, but it's like your mind's own quirky code. A system of symbols and meanings that only make sense in the dream world. Have you ever had one of those dreams where you're hanging out with people you've never met, but they somehow feel familiar? Or maybe you're in a completely bizarre setting, but it still feels oddly comforting, like you've been there before. That's your brain speaking in its own dream language. The people, places, and objects in your dreams aren't necessarily things you've experienced before, but your mind has a special way of drawing on random memories and feelings, mixing them together to create a unique world. It's like being in a dream-made sitcom, where the plot doesn't always make sense, but you're just going along with it because you know these characters. Here's the kicker, though. When you wake up, you completely forget the language your mind used in the dream. You can't translate it, you can't remember the exact symbols or what those strange feelings meant. All that's left is the odd impression of a dream that felt strangely familiar but isn't tied to anything real. It's as if your brain was trying to send you a message, but then promptly forgot what it was. Nice. The thing is, your brain has its own methods for processing emotions and scenarios while you sleep. These dream symbols aren't random, they're tied to your subconscious experiences and feelings, creating a bizarre but highly personal shorthand that's meant to help you sort out your waking life. But here's the funny part. While it's all clear in the dream, the moment you wake up, it's like trying to remember the punchline to a joke you heard years ago. You just know it was funny, but it's lost in translation. So, next time you wake up from a dream feeling like you were really part of something important, just know that your brain was playing a game of guess what this means with its own internal code. And no, you probably won't figure it out. But it's nice to know that you're the star of your very own subconscious soap opera.